How about now? Okay. All right, everyone, we're going to get started in 4 minutes. Just giving you the 4-minute countdown. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see everybody. Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. Still kind of feels like summer out there, but I guess we're getting there. It's dark outside, which we haven't had for a few months. I want to welcome you all that are online, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. And if you are, feel free to give us a message and tell us where you're watching from, and if you're what your name are, and you know how you found out about us. But welcome to you as well. Do we have any first-time visitors here tonight? Man, a lot of you guys. Thank you so much. Really happy you all are here, and I'm glad you guys got connected and came out to see us. Do we have any new members? Anybody here your first time being a new member? All right, fantastic. And we hope that all of you that are visiting would consider joining us. We think we have a really great thing going here, and hopefully you're able to take a tour, meet some people, and be ready to either learn from all the people here or start teaching us things. So it's amazing how we all have things we can bring to the table and make our guild better. You all know the drill by now if you've been here, but we're going to go through a little business meeting, and then we're going to have show and tell. We'll have a break, and then we'll have a program tonight. So you all know I like to run through it pretty quickly. So we're going to go down. First of all, for my section, I wanted to let everyone know on December 6th, at the Guild here, we're going to host a meeting of a chapter meeting of the Society of American Period Furniture Makers, which I happen to be the co-chair of this regional group, which is called the Gateway Chapter. And period furniture, as you all may know, but it's focused on like antiques that you would think of as pre-industrial furniture. So typically we would focus on handmade furniture from like the late 1600s to the mid 1800s. But there are other periods as well. So there's just a national group that that enjoys that. You know, I grew up being this, my dad was a period furniture maker in North Carolina, so that's what I grew up, and you guys all know I'm kind of the period guy in the guild here, so I wanted to send that invite. You can come out, and it's no fee. We'll probably ask you to pay for your lunch. We haven't figured that out yet. But I think Tom Smoller is going to do one of the presentations. You know what beautiful work that he does, and hopefully we'll get some people around the region to come and show some of their work as well. So you're welcome. I'm going down the list. Ron, do you have any announcements tonight? Okay, no announcements there. David, any announcements? Okay, nothing from David, our secretary. John Steyer, have seen John tonight? John is not here. He's our treasurer, and thanks to all of you for all your hard work. We're financially in good shape, which is nice to say as a representative of the board. So Chuck, Craig Arnold, I haven't seen Craig. Has Craig here tonight? Craig's back there with the laser. I know that he is he's doing template making back with the laser. We can catch up with him later. Oh, he's coming around? We'll skip over Craig for now. Chuck Saunders is typically sitting over there, but he's got benches for sale. So you might want to go check out what Chuck has. And moving down the line, Brian Rohrbaugh's in charge of our website and all of our communications. Do you have any announcements, Brian? No announcements there. Craig, did you want to come talk about your laser SIG template making? Craig, our illustrious member at large.
So when is it? Next Wednesday, we'll be taking, you see stuff in the magazines and they show you this little tiny grid, and one square equals 1 inch. Well, I'm going to show you how to take that, enlarge it, and get rid of all the crap you don't need, and make a template that you can use to route with then. So
that's at the next laser SIG? Okay, great. Awesome, thank you. Newsletter, thanks for all the work done on the newsletter between Stephen and Ron. Really great job, and I want to always encourage everyone, if you've got something that you are working on that you think is interesting, I think we would also think it was interesting as well. So if you wanted to write an article, send in some pictures. If you're on vacation or you're visiting, you know, a craftsman or a great house or something, we'd love to see it, and will be an article in the newsletter. So please consider doing that. I was negligent. I did not send in an article, so Ron hasn't scolded me yet, but I know it's coming. Don Steele, do you have any? You have your regular, you're selling books and magazines. Okay, books are $1, magazines are a quarter, 5 for $1. So please check out what Don has. We always have a lot of amazing stuff that might be your perfect reading material you can take home. Social media, I haven't seen Casey, who's in charge of our social media, but we like to remind everyone that we're on social media. We have Facebook page, we have a Facebook group, we're on Instagram, YouTube. We're up to 620 subscribers. That's been ticking up quite a bit. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, please do. And if you're looking for some videos, I know that I was teaching a class a few weeks ago, and I referenced one of the skill builders that was done, and that was helpful for the class. So all of our skill builders are on YouTube, and our monthly meetings and other safety items, and there's a lot of good stuff there. Chris McCauley with AV, do you want to have some announcements?
Just a reminder, everyone, when you're getting up, please use the microphones for show and tell and any questions. We have a couple mic stands up. We are having issues back here with the internet, so we are currently not live streaming, but I am recording it, and it will be uploaded. And then while I have the floor also, coming up is Santa's Workshop. It'll be going live this weekend on Facebook for the announcements, but it is just the weekend after our next meeting. For those that haven't done Santa's Workshop before, we have open to the public, free for the public. The kids get to make a toy truck like you see here. And it's a really fun event for everyone. We also have tables set up. So if you have items to sell, there'll be a sign up that you can have your own table. You need to man your own table or have someone man it for you. But we really need volunteers to help run the tools and stuff. And it will be the Saturday and Sunday before Thanksgiving.
All right, thanks, Chris. And Santa's Workshop is one of the great events that we have here. So excited about that. Carol, Director of Membership, do you have some announcements? I'm not sure this other mic is on yet. But.
Oh, thank you. That's safety first. Hi, we are at, we are at 860 members. It's got to help. I can put my glasses back on. There's something, I think I might have said this last time, but I'll say it again. Membership tags over here. I've been putting your cards in there to put in your wallet. If you see that, put that in your wallet. If you see somebody running around with it in there, tell them what it is so they know what to do with it. We're going to do another sale that's going to go up on Sign Up Genius. I've already bought some of these. So the computer bags, I bought a few of those. One of them is already sold. And there'll be a few extra if anybody's interested. Please see me, and I'll make sure that you get your name on the list. And then we're going to do some more aprons. And the colors are going to be, they are on the bottom of my bulletin board in my office. If you're interested, we'll be doing a Sign Up Genius for another round of those so we can get those available before the holidays. T-shirts are out. Mike has got those out. We have some of the older versions and some of the newer versions, so those are on sale tonight if you're interested in that. And I had an inquiry over our ambassador email about sauna doors, wood and heat. If anybody has any experience with that, come see me, because I would love to get you connected with a new member. Speaking of ambassadors, if you ever want to be an ambassador, you can come see me about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, moving down, we're actually moving pretty quickly. For programs, I haven't seen Tom tonight, but stick around for the program. Let's see, I kind of forgot where I was going with that. Safety, Steve Hicks is our Director of Safety. Steve, do you have any announcements tonight? Okay. Thank you. And I want to, Steve is always looking for people that want to join the safety committee. And the next safety orientation is November 9th, which is Sunday, and that'll be at 3 p.m. So if you're a new member and you need to get certified, that's the time to do it. Rough to ready, we always like to remind people, which is another way to get certified to use the shop. There are lots of classes available. You can check out that at the on the website. Sponsorship, Mike, do you have any announcements tonight? Okay, no announcements for Mike. Speaking of sponsors, make sure you check out our table over there with our lovely hostess. She is the one to see to win fabulous prizes. Okay, training. Rich, do you want to come run through the training opportunities?
Yeah, but I'm not going to be quick. Okay, folks, I've got some bad news for you. Starting off with my first slide. 71 days. 71 days before Christmas. You're all still sitting here. I'm surprised. I'd be running to my shop right now. Anyway, but we've got you covered. I wanted to let you know that we've got holiday quickies coming up. We've actually got 5 different holiday quickies this year. We've got the bandsaw reindeer that has been fairly popular in the past. We've got a wooden Christmas tree. A new one that's coming up. We've got a, am I getting referred? We've got a rustic wreath. We also have, George Rexroad is going to be doing the a scroll saw ornament. And then Chris McCauley is actually going to be leading sessions on making a campaign bookshelf. That's one of these bookshelves that you can pull up. Yeah, right, like this one right here, where you pull the shelf out and it lays flat down. So he's going to be leading that. So if you want to have one of yours just like that, you can come to the holiday quickies. Enrollment for that is going to open on November 4th, and we're going to have those 3 different days. So we'll have them on December 4th, December 11th, and December 18th. In addition to holiday quickies, we've got some other classes coming up. First one I want you to know about is the Christmas Star class. That class is this weekend. We still have some wait slots available. The actual class is filled up, but we have some wait slots available. And you'd be surprised at how often someone calls us last minute and says, hey, I can't do it, and then we go to that wait list. So that's a very popular class. That's with Wayne and Rob Young. We also have some slots available still for our first toy class. Our first toy class is going to be on November 8th, and that is going to run from 9 to 5. So there's some slots still available for that class if you're interested. This is a really good beginner class. So if you are looking for a way to get in a shop and start using the tools, this is a great class. But it's a fun class for anybody. We make 3 different trucks. And we make, and the trucks are similar to what we make during the Santa's workshop, but we also make a 5-car train as part of that. We're also going to be running that again on December 13th, and enrollment for that will open on November 11th. So, and then we've got the project finishing class. There are still some wait slots available for that class. That class is going to run November 11th, 12th, and 13th, and that's a great time to get information about how to finish your projects right before Christmas. I've been told that Craig will talk about his night before Christmas finish that he can do. So, and then upcoming skill builders. November 1st, we are having Bob Bernecki is coming from Type Bond. He's going to talk about gluing. And then, as Cal's already mentioned, the December 6th will be the SAFA meeting. And then if you missed the October skill builder, we had Toyohisa Sugita here. That has been recorded. That is available on our YouTube page. Also, his 2 books that he has published in America, the joinery, Woodworking Joinery by Hand and his router book are both available in our library. So,
Rich?
yes.
I'm going to make a quick note because people have asked me in the past, when you're going to see either a meeting live that was recorded live after the fact or like the skill builder, when you go to our YouTube channel, at the top there's a menu bar of playlists, shorts, videos. There's one that says live. That is all of our past live streams, so all of our past meetings and any skill builders that were shown live. That's where you find them at. So that's where you'll find his skill builder.
And the last thing, I am asking for some help. If any of you have ever dreamed of being a behind-the-scenes organizer of events, I could use somebody to help me plan and execute the skill builder events. They're once a month. It's not a huge time commitment, but if someone is interested in getting more involved in the guild, that's an area where I could use some help. So that's it.
All right. Thank you, Rich. A lot of stuff going on there, a lot of opportunities. And so appreciate you, all your efforts in juggling the slots and times and the technology to get people signed up, and of course all the teachers, the volunteers and everything. So it's, the classes are a pretty amazing portion of the guild. We're moving down the list pretty well. Right now we're going to talk about our SIGs, which is our special interest groups. So currently we have 4 SIGs, and I'm just going to go down the list. The first is our hand tool SIG. Their next meeting is October 26th. It always meets the 4th Sunday of the month from 2 to 4. Do we have a special topic coming up at the hand tool SIG? The Stanley 45. So if you all know what that is, that's the old, basically a planing type of tool with all types of doohickeys that you can make moldings and all kinds of stuff, right? It's kind of like, I don't know if it's a 45 in one, but it's a lot of tools in one. So that's a great opportunity. Wood carving SIG, that's held the 4th Tuesday of the month from 6 to 8, so the next one is going to be October 28th. Anything special, Dan, to talk about? So, yeah, if you help people be successful in wood carving, anything you're interested in wood carving, come out and to the wood carver SIG, and that's can be folk carving or traditional carving or power carving, any type of carving that you're interested in, which is really fun. Laser engraver SIG meets October 22nd, and that is led by, we already talked about the laser SIG. Craig talked about the template making, which is the next opportunity. And typically that's the place to get trained on the laser as well. You need special certification to use the laser, and that's October 22nd at 7. The last one is our CNC SIG, and you have some announcements, Ed? That is held the 3rd Monday of the month, so the next one is October 20th.
Yeah, Monday. Okay. The next CNC SIG will be Monday night. If you're coming, bring your safety glasses. We're going to get on the machine, make some sawdust. We've got a couple of presentations to make. It ought to be a packed night as far as information for you. And I'd like to see anybody there that's curious about the CNC.
All right, that's awesome. Maybe we could have a CNC/period furniture meeting. Just kidding. Well, believe it or not, 7:22. That's not bad. 20 minutes is my goal, but I need Matt to come up and tell us about the Christmas dinner, so I'm not done yet. Whoops.
Is Terry here? You want to come up, Terry? Nope. Okay. Christmas dinner is coming up pretty soon, 17 December. That is our December meeting. And this year we're going to do Christmas presents for everyone that pays. It won't cost you anything extra. We're keeping the same price as last year, even though beef prices have just gone out of the country. I mean, it's really crazy. Some of the presents that we're going to have There's, for instance, I can't tell if it's wooden earrings. George and I have made a lot of puzzles. There'll be, I think we have maybe, George, what, 60? Where's George?
We have 25 for dinner right now, plus whatever I give.
Okay, George says we have 25 made or ready for the dinner, but we think we might have 50 or 60 wooden puzzles for the dinner. Some of the other ideas are something really simple like trivets. I know Cherry has a much better looking trivet than what I make. And then that's about all I got. Oh, there will be, ever hear of a game? It's a pub game called Shut the Box. When I was over in Europe just recently, I discovered this game is really pretty cool. And we're going to put one on each table, so it'll be like a icebreaker. So people can sit around and play that game while you're waiting to get in line to go get dinner. And depending on how many other presents there are, we may end up letting those game boxes go as presents as well. Don has says that we can use some of the books that that we have left over. I was also thinking maybe stacks of magazines. Give maybe 5 or 6 years of woodcraft, as a present. So, obviously we're going to need some work. We need some helpers. Terry and I cannot possibly set up all the tables and all the chairs by ourselves. All this equipment has to be moved to the back. So we'll have a sign-up genius for that. The chairs all need to be cleaned. The cushion ones need to be vacuumed. The other ones need to be wiped down, and just set the tables and chairs up. All of the desserts will be over there. Please bring really cool items for silent auction, because 100% of that money goes to the guild to help defray costs for the guild. Back in the training classroom will be not the show and tell, no, the People's Choice Awards. And then back in the hand tool room will be all the Christmas presents. And everyone will have a number. Carol's making Christmas tags up for everyone. So when you come in, you pay, you get your number, and we'll randomly draw numbers, and then you go choose your presents. It's gonna be a pretty fun night, I think. So, but we're gonna need helpers to make it work. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Matt. And now we're done with the agenda. So then, what we do now is we do show and tell. So I'm going to hand things over to Kevin. And if you've got show and tell items, come on up and kind of get ready. And we'll do a brief spot for you to show off what you're making. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Cal. Chris, we've already been introduced to this piece of fine furniture. Tell us about it.
So I did one of these to show and tell several years ago. I talked to Rich about it, and we're going to do this for a holiday quickie. This is my quick prototype. It's a little loose. Make it a little bit stronger on the final one, but this would be a great thing for like First Fridays or craft sales. So.
And what kind of wood do you have?
This is just some red oak I had laying around. For the class, we're going to make out of pine just for cost purposes and just so you can learn the technique, but to put it back together. So it's kind of a quick little shelf. The original design pattern and came from Christopher Schwartz's book, Campaign Furniture. They would have these like in the Revolutionary War and stuff for all the generals in their tents to have all their books and stuff. But you can adjust the shelves and make it appropriate for your crafts. I've sold a couple of these to different crafters that they use for their shows, and they like them. They pack flat, so it makes it easy for transport.
Very nice. What are you going to finish it with?
If I finish this one, it'll probably just be
Odie's oil?
Probably Odie's oil.
Very good. Any other questions for Chris?
So this one is going to be on the holiday quickie class, and we're having how many spots open? 12 total? Yep. How long did it take me to make this one? This one, I made the first one a couple years ago. I did it while I was a foreman, so I was breaking away and when no one had questions. So it took me a couple hours, but we're going to do it in the class in just under, what, an hour? Just a couple hours? 3 hours? Oh, yeah, we'll have plenty of time for that then. So
7 pieces of wood. Yep. How many hinges?
there's 6 hinges on it. So there's one on the side, or one set on the side, and then 4 sets on the inside. The hardest part is the inside hinges you have to install at a 90-degree angle. So you have to get the drill in there or screwdriver in there.
Very nice. Another question.
You could, yeah. Yes, could you use a sliding dovetail for the shelf? Absolutely, that would help. Like I said, this was done. Rich wanted a photo of one, and I didn't have a current, so I just did a quick demo, so we could get the photo for the email.
Very good.
Yep. Reminder, guys, use the mics when you have questions. We have mic stands in the back and on the side. If you have questions, please use the mics.
Thank you, Chris. Matt? Tell us about your box.
I brought this box in a couple months ago, but at that time it was not finished, and I put some chip carving in it. And technically it's chip carving, but it's more of a free form. It's not geometric. On one of the ends, on the back end, the K on this one is for Kylie. It's one of my granddaughters. So these boxes are all, there's 5 of them were made for the grandkids. Each one has their initial on the back. It's just pretty simple box, really. We make them here in the shop, and I'll probably put, for the ones in Germany, they like when I make these icicles turned on the lathe for Christmas tree, and I'll put a bunch of those in there for when I ship them over to Germany. It's what kind of finish?
What kind of wood? What kind of finish?
Oh, basswood. I purposely chose basswood because I know it was going to be easier to carve rather than oak, and I just happen to have a bunch of hedge, and it gives a nice contrast in the color. I could have used walnut, I could have used cherry, but I just happen to have a bunch of hedge, so that's what I used.
Excellent. What kind of tools did you use besides your hand carving tools?
Tools here in the shop in order to do the cutting. Yeah, it goes really pretty simply. I put the splines in there. You know, I mean, we have the jig back here to do that kind of stuff. It's an easy thing to do here in the shop.
Did you make all 7 at the same time?
Yes, I did. And someone asked me, and you look on the back, it says 2023. I don't remember how I made it exactly. I mean, this part here gets a little bit complex, and I just don't remember exactly how I did that. So I'm going to have to rethink of something to make up new boxes, I guess, if I ever make new boxes.
So you're going to have to go back and check your own YouTube channel to see what that looked like.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
Very good. Any other questions for Matt? Hedge.
Oh, the whole thing is finished with just a spray lacquer. And I did learn one thing. You know, I took it outside, set up on top of a wood pile, and I, sprayed it, turned around, sprayed it, let it sit for a while, let it cure out on the porch, take it in the house, and it's like, it ain't opening. It would not open. I had to take about a 2-inch by 1/8 of an inch piece of wood and a hammer, and I had to just break that seal that had formed with that spray lacquer. So don't do that if you expect your box to open. I mean, I was going to send it just like that to Germany, just like, it's yours. Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions? Thank you, Matt. All right, looks like a charcuterie board, maybe.
Tabletop, whatever. It's gonna go to my brother, so he can. Sorry. So my brother can decide what he wants to do with it. But yeah, this is a tabletop that I made. Took what I thought was 2 weeks. Took 2 years. So yeah, oops. But there was a lot of hiatus between different steps that I got stuck on. But yeah, so this is an ash tree that was on one of our farms. So they cut it down, saw a big trunk, and I was like, oh, that'd make a neat table. So I didn't know what I was getting into when I started chopping down that trunk, and got 5 cookies out of it. So this is cookie number 1. So a lot of lessons learned. Oh, sorry? Oh. But yeah, it was just really interesting. A lot of the dots you can see in here are ash borer. So they kind of ate out at it, but it actually, I think it makes it look pretty cool. And then also along the, let me put it sideways real quick. So you can see kind of along the edge where all the worms kind of took at it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, where the worms kind of took at the edge, so you can kind of have a nice, interesting edge there, which I didn't realize was going to make it a pain to finish. Now I know why people sand the edges, but it's unique that way. So, yeah, 6 bow ties went into this to try and make it whole. On the back side, I decided to put our brand into it to make it our own. And I was going to use the laser engraver, but when I found out that I could just grab the cattle brand and do it that way, I was like, that's a lot easier. So, but I did take the lessons. So yeah, Craig, I appreciate it. And oh yeah, definitely appreciate everybody that was on duty when I was here. I asked tons of questions. I'm sure Craig and Ed were tired of me asking them all, but definitely appreciate it. And yeah, so deep pour epoxy in the middle. Then Rubio monocoat on top of that. Sorry, it's not Odie's, but yeah, anything else?
Did you glue or seal this before you put the bow ties in?
No, so I guess the only thing that I think I did beforehand was, actually no, I did the bow ties first, but the bow ties didn't go all the way through. So the bow ties are actually only about a 1/2 inch deep on either side. So this was originally 2 inches, and after a lot of planing and sanding, it became about 1.5 inches. So it's, yeah, but it lost weight, makes it a lot easier to carry. So, but yeah, I don't know if that answered that question.
All right. So how much time did you spend sanding it down? Very nice.
A lot of mistakes were made, so a lot more sanding than it needed to have been. So I did 1 epoxy coat, sanded it down, turned out, did it again, put a flood coat on top, sanded it down. Then I realized, oh, the sanding marks aren't disappearing yet, so I need to sand it first, then do the tabletop cover epoxy, and then sand it down so that way it got a good seal. So yeah, so I got really good at sanding after all that. And but yeah, no, I think it turned out good. I think the only thing I would do differently next time is just do the tabletop epoxy, do a cover pour, and just call it a day. Don't mess with the finishing of it. So, but yeah, otherwise, yeah. Other questions?
Very good. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, we got.
I have
You can lay this down.
is a couple questions. Walk us through how you did the flattening process. Not only did it take time, but just tell us how the process was. And then the other question is, how did you go about keeping the epoxy from like leaking through the? Because I've done this before, and I ended up, you think you got it, and you come out the next morning, and all the epoxy's on the floor of the shop. Yeah.
No, that's a really good question. So Yeah, so it started out with my buddy had a sawmill, so he was able to cut it into 5 cookies. After they dried out, there was a little bit of warping, so his uncle has kind of a router jig sled, so he was able to plane it that way. So thankfully I could outsource that, but but it would be interesting to learn it here. I think we do have a sled, is that right? Yeah, so that would be for the next one, whenever that happens. And then for the deep pour epoxy portion, you're right, it does leak out, so this was the bottom side. To make sure that the epoxy didn't pour out, you can kind of see there's some white here. That is where all the caulk went, where I was a little aggressive towards this area, trying to make sure that it wouldn't spill out around here. So yeah, so did a caulk around the outside, just to make sure that it stayed within there, and then used a lot of clamps just to seal it down. But what I sealed it down to was a bunch of masking tape, so that way it's heat resistant. So that way, when you do deep pour epoxy, it doesn't stick to the actual not duct tape, the masking tape that I was mentioning earlier. So that answer your question? All right. Other questions? I think there's a few over. How old is that? Very old. I'm not sure. I mean, I could, but we are missing a few in the middle. I'm sure it's got to be at least close between 50 and 100. I probably should have tried counting one time, but we can only guess just because the center's missing from rotting out. So, but it was right next to an old school house that was built, I think, in the late 1800s. So it's got to be around then. So, or early 1900s, I would say. So yeah, but sorry. Go ahead. Other questions? I think there's one over here. Yeah.
Do you know what kind of like legs or other accoutrement your brother is going to add to it, or has he talked to you about
So this is a surprise for him. So if he's tuning into YouTube, yeah, no more surprise. So I would like to keep the integrity of it. So as much as I would like to put legs on it, I want this to be reversible. So that way, if he did want to see the brand, he could flip it over and see that on top. So if I think I've seen it at one time where people can have like legs where they can just kind of support on each side of it, but then have its own base. Yeah, kind of hold it up like that, and then you can just flip it over. That's my idea. Or else he can just put it on a heavy-duty easel if he wants to display it somewhere. That'd be my 2 guesses. So yeah, but yeah, your thoughts? Okay. Yeah, for sure. All right. Other questions?
I'm just curious. When you did the epoxy pour, did you have trouble with the bubbles? Like,
yeah. So
how'd you get rid of the bubbles?
Oh yeah. So I had a blowtorch, like a mini blowtorch, to try and make sure I got rid of the bubbles. The other problem I ended up having with that is when I did the deep pour and I finished doing that, the bottom side didn't solidify fully, so I had to actually take a chisel, scoop out all of the epoxy that didn't actually fully seal, and like about maybe a 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch deep, and then re-sand it and re-epoxy the backside. So now there's like 2 different sets of a deep pour epoxy in there to make sure it's solid. So yeah, you'll always run into issues, I guess, but I guess I was thankful that the bubbles were not part of the issue. So yeah. Or maybe I just sanded the heck out of it and got rid of those bubbles, one of the 2. So.
Very good. Any other questions?
My shop teacher in the past told me the best way to get out bubbles is to use some sort of a vibration motor and a heat gun. Yeah, and like the deep tissue massage, something. Your washing machine, maybe, I don't know, dryer, something, whatever.
Good idea.
Oh yes, yep, definitely. A lot of lessons learned on this one. So, yeah.
All right, tell us about the brand.
So yeah, that's our family cattle brand. So it's a For those who can't see, it's a J and an H combined. So for Joseph Henoch, which is my grandpa. So that's the brand. Yeah. Thank you. Other questions? Thankfully, I did test it on another cookie that I'm gonna later plane, so that way I did find out I was doing it wrong the first time. So so if you put heat directly onto wood, it's going to spread the blackness of the brand on it. So what he was referencing was pre-treating it. So that way, when you do brand it, the blackness does not spread out. So what I did was I did a little bit of water, a little bit of a spray bottle water on it, and then branded it. But don't brand it for too long, or else other things will happen. So I probably branded about, I think, maybe 5 seconds or so, and then let go. And yeah, here we go. That's what we got. So yeah, definitely, yeah, practice before you do it.
When you branded it, did you just heat up a branding iron on a furnace or what?
It's a electric brander, so yeah, I could just heat it up that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're in the 2000s. They don't use the fire method anymore, so it's electric.
With a really long extension cord. Yeah.
Very good.
But yeah, any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Grace. This is a 7-stick comb back chair that I made. Chris Schwartz invited me to come be an assistant in one of his chair teaching classes. So I went to Covington earlier this year and built this chair with him and a group of students that were all there on scholarship. So it was a really awesome class. I'll be going back to co-teach with Chris next year, which is really exciting and a big confidence boost for me. But yeah, the chair is, the sticks, stretchers, and legs are red oak. The seat and the comb are elm, and the arm is quarter sawn hickory. And then the finish is a homemade milk paint that I made from skim milk, vinegar, lime, water, and pigment from Herculaneum, which is the town next to Pompeii that was also buried by Mount Vesuvius. So this is a completely natural, food-safe finish that actually you can recoat it. I put like 3 coats on in one day, and then it has a beeswax and linseed oil finish that I applied 48 hours later on top. So it's completely non-toxic. You could eat it if you really wanted to.
No.
Yeah. And yeah, it was really, Alex Baer and I teach this chair here at the Guild. Brian's here. You can ask him if he recommends or doesn't recommend taking that class with us, but it will be happening again in January. I really like building these chairs because they're a fairly simple form, but they're kind of infinitely customizable. A chair that I'm working on now has more of these short sticks around. You can really change the height of the seat, the lean of the sticks, the height of your comb, the shape of your hands. So while everyone's working on the same thing and they're all related, there's opportunities for sort of creativity and sculpture. Like on this particular chair, I left the sticks as octagons with really strong facets. On other chairs, I've shaved them completely down to cylinders. Challenges with building the chair. There were some students that were flying home, so they weren't gluing up their chair. So I was like, you being so benevolent, like, you can glue up my chair. And then I like turned around and they snapped a stretcher because they hadn't had it seated properly on the shoulder. But it wasn't a big deal because it was actually a great learning experience where I could kind of turn around and say, oh, I know what I'm doing, and I can make a new stretcher in about 10 minutes now, whereas 2 years ago would have taken me, an hour and a half. And then Chris said, you had to learn that lesson for yourself. Never let the student glue up your project. So yeah, any questions?
Very good. So there's no steam bended wood here.
There's no steam bending pieces. This is a 4-piece arm. So the arm, if we could flip it around, I'll show, or I guess show it on the front. So the hands and the arm kind of come through to here, and then there's a piece called the mid arm. Those are joined. That's a glue joint, just a butt joint, and then you put a shoe on top of it. Part of why I like making this chair, I've made other chairs that do involve steam bending, but that doesn't always fit with my, I have a full-time job. I'm not a full-time woodworker. I can't keep the wood green. I don't have a steam box. So this is a really accessible way to build this arm. It's one of the only places where you have, there's a couple considerations for grain when you're building a chair like this. You need super straight grain, obviously through the sticks and the legs and the stretchers, but the arm is also another really important part where you have to think about, there's gonna be short grain throughout this assembly, but figuring out how to kind of mitigate that as you build it is kind of a fun puzzle. And then it has like hickory wedge, all the tenons are wedged tenons too with hickory. And then they're pinned through the comb with these Japanese wooden nails, tapered nails.
Dave, you have a question?
Yes. With this class, was this a hand tool project?
Yeah, so the only power tool that I used for this is a bandsaw. Is really useful for cutting things out. You could do it fully with hand tools. The two primary tools that you need are like a Stanley No. 5, kind of a jack plane like that, and then a little block plane. And then the Guild has purchased several specialty chair tools that we use for this class. So we use the Veritas powered tenon cutters, which mount on a drill. These are all cylindrical tenon joints here. That's kind of traditional for vernacular furniture. And then the Guild's also purchased a set of Windsor Workshop Travishers, which you use to saddle the seat, which we just did last night in class, and everyone did a great job. But yeah, the class as we teach it is a hand tool heavy class. But you don't have to have any experience with hand tools to sign up for the class. Just an interest in kind of learning this. The whole idea with this particular style of chair building and the class that we're teaching is like, you don't need to do a lot of math. You don't need to do a lot of measuring. You don't need to do trigonometry. There are ways to make this accessible and fun, and lean into the fact that parts of it are gonna be a little weird. Your sticks, all your holes aren't gonna be drilled perfect, but that's what makes the chair look so it looks so beautiful. I'm saying that about my own chair, but that's what makes these chairs really special, is that they have a little bit of tension and strangeness to the way that they're built. They don't look like they were made in a factory.
All right, my question is, why does Chris choose elm for the seat?
So elm, the first chair I ever made, I was red oak for this seat, and it was like so hard to saddle, and it was horrible. It was like torture. Elm is also really difficult to saddle because of the interlocking grain, but one of the really amazing things about elm is if you're sending something like oak sticks into the seat, you'll actually see where the seat has eaten the tenon on the sticks, basically. Like you can really, really send it into the seat. And like these all had a significant shoulder on them. I didn't taper the stick all the way down to the tenon, but because you can really wail on the elm, you can like get those sticks seated really well. Brian, we won't be able to do that with cherry. That's how we'll split the seats and break all the chairs on the last day. But that's part of the reason. And yeah, you do need really strong wood to take all of the different joinery, basically.
So you use power drills, you didn't use bit and brace?
Didn't use bit and brace, used just like a regular DeWalt drill, and then a couple different wood owl bits, like an overdrive bit for the mortises here in the legs, and then a different bit for this. A lot of times when I'm here in the shop, people ask me, why aren't you using a Forstner bit? And the reason is because the worm or the spur on the Forstner bit's not long enough for you to be able to get the angles that you need to when you are doing chair making. So you need to use bits that have a long enough lead spur that you're able to get the angles that you like. I actually like using spade bits, but you can only get 1 or 2 chairs out of them before you gotta grind the heck out of them to get them sharp again.
All right, and you said these are all red oak?
It's all red oak.
How do you determine this length and the span?
It's extremely scientific. You take 2 tiny pieces of wood and you stick them in the mortises and overlap them and make a little mini feeler gauge for yourself, and then you transfer that to your piece of wood and account for the tenons. You add 1/8 of an inch because you want a little bit of tension in that undercarriage. This is all, the underneath is all direct drilling, so you dry fit the legs, you flip it over, and then I drilled the mortises directly with just into the legs themselves. So there's some amount of accuracy. There's lots of different tricks. You can use a rubber band to, line your drill up in between, like stretch a rubber band around here and then line the body of your drill up in between there. You can use little bubble levels. My philosophy is sort of just do it once or twice and maybe you're gonna fuck it up, but then the third time you'll get it right. So don't build all these tools and jigs into your process. This is a very minimal, there's only really one jig involved in building this chair. It's a jig that holds up the arm above the seat as you're drilling. The arm is 8 inches above the seat. You make a jig that is basically out of dimensional lumber to 2x10s, and that is the only jig that's used for this. There are lots of people make a lot of drilling jigs and stuff that you can use to set the angle of your drill bit or set the angle of your mortises, but again, I think it's really the kind of thing where you just do it a couple of times and then you learn to be accurate enough without having to go through all the trouble of setting that up all the way.
So this originally, as I understand it, was made to be a garden chair when it was originally created. Will you take this out and leave it in the garden?
Maybe. I have a lot of them, and my house is only so big, and I'm not against putting it out in the garden at all. No. Yeah, I made my dad a chair for his 70th birthday, and then now everyone thinks they get a chair, but that's not quite how it works.
All right. Any other questions? Cal?
My question, how did you get hooked up with Chris Swartz and the teaching with him? Do that, I don't know if this is a long story or a short story.
It's a medium story. I'm on the board of directors for an organization called the Chairmaker's Toolbox, which is started by a woodworker named Aspen Golan, who is an amazing furniture maker and teacher. And that organization hosts classes all over the country that are for people who are underrepresented in woodworking. So, I'm the only person in this room, that looks like me, that's a woman, that's young. So these classes are for women and young people and people of color and people that look like there's nothing wrong with, everyone being part of woodworking. So it's trying to include more people in that. So I went to Chris's 2 years ago for one of those classes, and we've just stayed in touch, and I think of him as sort of like a friend and mentor in a lot of ways. He's an extremely generous person whose philosophy about woodworking and teaching and accessibility and sharing knowledge is really important to me. I like making chairs because I can do it mostly by myself, and I could do a lot of it at home. I like coming to the shop, but it's a nice project. It's kind of self-contained. It's been really fun to find something that is, sort of my focus and my niche.
How many do you have?
I've made 6 or 7 of variations of this particular chair. And then I have a lot of stools that are similar similar construction, and then I've also made a continuous arm Windsor chair that I have at home that I would be really interested in doing building more Windsors, but like I said, the green wood and the steam box and everything is a little bit, it's a little bit of a blocker sometimes.
So we're taking a good amount of time on show and tell. These are awesome projects. Our presenter did not show tonight, just to let everyone know. And I'm happy. Brian, I'm sorry. No one told me that. I was told. Okay, I was told you didn't, Joe. So sorry, Brian. I apologize. Never mind. Never mind. Let's keep going.
Thank you for that beautiful chair.
Hello. Thanks, Norm. These are from Norm's class for basic woodworking. Then I added Doug's touch to them. So a plant stand, and I spiced up a spice rack. So,
What have you got? What's it made out of? What's your finish?
Sure. Oak, made of oak. And then what I did was I put a little inlay of mahogany in each leg, did some little wood routing on the edges to spice it up and around the corners, around the edge and stuff, and then put tulips inlays in the top, and so that spiced that up some. And I know we're in a hurry, so I was trying to go fast. But polyurethane finish, but I really enjoyed the class. I wanted to, if anyone hasn't taken the basic woodworking class, I recommend it highly. They do a great job. We learned to use all the tools and safely.
On the construction of this part, did you just use a lap joint?
Lap joint here, and then the Tennyson machine, and table saw, routers. Well, we used about everything. Norman probably helped me out there. But it was a lot of fun making that. And
All right, tell us about this inlay.
same thing. This is cherry. Then I added legs, mahogany legs. Had some mahogany laying around, some inlay on the front, and had a little mountain of inlay on top. These are from other things that I brought. The Tartar Wood Company has some plastic inlays that you do with router work. So I'll make the pieces separately. Same thing with tulips here, and then take it's 1/8 inch to the 1/8 inch bushing, and then you cut out with the same plastic form and make the mountain and the sun and the bird.
Is the mountain also mahogany and the bird?
Yes, and yellow wood for the sun.
All right.
And everything. So polyurethane finish on it, and again, just wanted to doctor it up.
So this is a knick-knack shelf?
They call it the spice rack, and that we call it in class spice rack. And then so they asked me to bring it because I brought it to the class, and they said, "I'll bring it to here," so I did.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Questions?
Any questions?
All right. Very good.
Hold on.
Wait, Norm's got a question.
I have a couple of clarifications.
Yes.
Okay. It's not Norm's class. It's the Guild's basic woodworking class.
He was the
right?
instructor.
So not Norm's class. And also, the inlay and the feet are not what we do. Okay, that's not what we teach in the class. So we occasionally have a student that just goes above and beyond what we teach and show people how to make. And I've seen people make 6 plant stands. After they made one, they made 5 more, all different heights and widths and things like that to play with the idea. He's taken it to the next level with inlay and adding feet to the spice rack. And so that's all just him, not us. And that's that.
That's correct.
One question. What kind of mahogany did you use?
I really don't know. I just know it's mahogany that I got from a place that had wood on sale, and it was advertised through the guild, and so I found a great deal and bought a ton of it, and so I bought it at it's a place up north, the company that they knows. You guys? No, it's on Front Street down there by the river.
Metro Hardwoods?
No, it's north of the river.
The gentleman who makes windows and had a lot of offcuts, and in the classified ads, he had some available for the guild to pick up. You contacted him, and you paid like what, $20 for a flat?
You get a
yes,
you
know,
a
forklift,
pallet of wood.
a pallet of wood. So it's an awesome deal. Very generous of that company.
Yeah, so anyway, I found, so watch your classified ads, you can get bargains. I have other bargains that I've got through classified ads too, that everybody, of course, probably has access to, that gets the newsletter.
So all you new members and visitors, this is what can happen. All right.
So is it, I'm told that you're donating for the auction for the Christmas dinner?
My wife wants this one.
Yeah.
This one. She said she liked it. She had no place for it to put in the house.
Thank you very much for that donation and great projects.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I'm just curious, on that inlay work, did you use a power tool at all, or did you just do everything by hand?
So I have the plastic forms that from the tartar wood, and they'll be like, so then you'll lay out your work flat, and then you route out the pieces. A small, I just have a plunge router. You could use a small one. I have a regular sized one, and then do it all by hand, and then so you got to get it all lined up the way you want it to keep it where and then you have the piece cut. Then you have to line it up again to line it up so it fits where you want it to be lined up in the. So it takes some time and practice, and then you put a bushing in there, and that makes it the piece that you cut with the same plastic form. Then it does it. You just it repeats it, but with the bushing, so that it doesn't fit in exactly. Takes a little incursion to get it in there, but same thing with the tulips. Just different.
Very good.
Thing. A lot of fun.
Anything else?
Okay, and I think that's it for the show and tell. And we're going to take about an 8-minute break. Yeah, nice, very nice. Thank you. Everybody who brought in the projects, we're going to take a break, about an 8-minute break, and we're going to come back with Brian with the program. So, thanks.
Hello, and welcome to the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. I'm Mike Blake, and I'm going to address the personal safety concerns when working in the shop here at the Guild. Keep in mind that like all safety videos, this video focuses on the safety concerns of the machine and is not a complete training program for the use of any of the power tools or machines in the shop. First, let's consider how we need to prepare ourselves to work safely in the shop. Let's start with how we're dressed. It's important not to have loose hanging clothing that can get caught in machines and pull your body in. Well-fitting clothes works best, preferably just what you need to be comfortable in the shop. Avoid wearing coats and other long-sleeve shirts, especially with loose cuffs. Avoid baggy pants or shorts and pants with holes that can catch on protruding shafts and levers. Anything that falls is headed for the floor, and that's where your feet are. Protect your feet by wearing sturdy, closed-toed shoes. Steel boots are preferred, and sandals are not allowed in the Guild shop during open shop. Gloves are not to be worn while using machines. The only exceptions are the skin-tight, latex, nitrile, exam-type gloves. Much like clothing, long hair can get caught in rotating machinery with horrible results. Long hair needs to be confined by a hat, headband, or tied back to keep it out of harm's way. Loose-fitting jewelry also poses the risks found with long hair and loose clothing. Loose and dangling jewelry should not be worn. To avoid catching on tools and machines, it is best not to wear any jewelry while working in the shop. So far, we have addressed things that can cause injury by bringing your body into contact with moving machine parts or material. Now let's look at what we can do to protect our body from external threats. Start with protecting your hearing. Some of the machines are quite loud and with multiple machines running, the volume can cause harm to your hearing. Wearing earmuffs or earplugs can reduce the volume of harmful frequencies found in the shop. The use of safety glasses in the shop is not just a good idea, they are a hard requirement for being in the shop while work is going on. Not just when you're using a machine, but anytime you're in the shop during classes or open shop. Safety glasses must be proper safety glasses with side shields. The lenses will be marked ANSI Z87.1, regular prescription glasses, even if they have polycarbonate lenses, are not safety glasses. They must be certified with ANSI Z87.1. From the eyes, let's move back just a little into the most important safety device, your brain. Make sure you think about safety. Take a moment to determine if this is a good time for you to be working in the shop. Be honest with yourself, and don't let deadlines or opportunities lead you into a dangerous situation. You risk injury. Don't work in the shop when you have been drinking or using drugs that dull your senses. Finally, only work in the shop when you are focused on working in the shop. If you're preoccupied with issues at work or at home, you're not giving life-threatening machinery your undivided attention. Think safe, work safe. Before you start working in the shop, take a moment to assess the area you're going to be working in. Finding out mid-operation that you're blocked from completion and you need to stop midway to clear the obstruction is not a good situation and may compromise your personal safety. Making sure the area you're working in is clean and free of debris that could cause you to have trip hazards, poor footing, or be in the way of completing the operation. Always best to make sure you have the room to complete your operation from start to finish. Finding out that the wall is 12 feet from the saw blade as you are ripping a 14-foot long board is troublesome. Take a moment to make sure the machine has all of the required safety equipment in place. Guards are in place and dust collection is connected. You can't always assume that the tools are set up for the task that you have to do. Be aware of others working around you, especially in the guild shop. You are not alone. You need to be aware of other people working in the area around you and ensure that they will not be obstructing your work path. Likewise, making sure you are not obstructing theirs. Okay, now you're ready to get to work. But wait, there's more to be considered. Think through the job again to avoid any surprises. Make sure that your wood is going to stay where it is intended to stay. That means supporting the wood throughout the process to avoid the wood tilting or shifting in unexpected direction. Roller stands and support tables help a lot. Sometimes the operation just doesn't lend itself to a roller stand. That's when you go to the ultimate stability accessory. Ask someone for help. People are very good at steadying a piece as you guide it through the machine. This is one reason it is important to assess your needs before you start so you can line up help ahead of time. Better than yelling help mid-cut. Keep in mind that there is a balance of forces in the world. When you pick up one end, the other end goes down. Make sure you balance those forces so that, for example, the board doesn't lift off the saw when it comes off the roller stand. Think through the order of operations so that you don't perform one operation that makes the next operation undoable. For example, if you cut your board to a finished length of 10 inches, it is now too short to run through the joiner or the planer. Think ahead so you aren't tempted to make a bad decision to work unsafely. Examine your material to make sure that it is sound enough to be used for your purpose. This includes making sure the material does not harbor surprises like trapped metal or other non-wood materials. Also look for loose knots or heavy splintering that could make the piece hang up while feeding. In a nutshell, Make sure that the wood is the wood you need and not the wood you have to make do. Bargains can be costly. Finally, in planning your work in the shop, make sure that you are planning to use the tools appropriately. Don't try to make a tool work for a purpose that it is not intended for, no matter what you saw on YouTube. In closing, I want to thank you for taking time to watch this video and spending some time preparing before you start cutting. Preparation eliminates surprises and makes your woodworking safe and enjoyable. This is Mike Blake for the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. Thanks for watching.
And stuff I just can't work in the wintertime, and I wanted to work. And I watch all these influencers on YouTube, and they all got Nordfab or Oneida pipe and fittings, and I thought, oh, that's the way to go. That stuff looks great. Well, I went up to the Nordfab site, started plugging everything in, and I hit about $12,000. I wasn't done. And I thought, no, that's not for me, and particularly it's not for my wife. So I started looking around, and I assumed, just from what I've seen, is if I can't afford that stuff, I'm going to go do PVC plumbing fittings. And the more I found, the more I disliked. Surprisingly, I needed an 8-inch main, and I was really shocked at what a 6-inch main, and I was really shocked at what 6-inch plumbing fittings cost. I needed 11 drops, and they're upwards of $70. And so I almost had $1,000 worth of the bigger version of this. And so I wasn't a 3D printer, but I had a friend that had been for about 10 years. And I talked to him and I said, could you print something that looks like a Y? And he said, sure. And I drew something up and he printed it. And I asked him, how much do I owe you? And he said, nah, it's nothing. I said, come on, it costs you money. And he said, it's just like $2.50. And from that point on, I was like, holy cow, I think there's a little business here. So I created this company, DustDog. And before we talk about that, I really just want to talk about dust collection in general. How many people here have proper, sufficient dust collection in their shops? Yeah, I'm the same way. I've operated for years. The only reason I put it downstairs was because I knew my wife would demand it and not have dust in the house. One thing I've learned, I grew up on a farm. I ate dust, dirt all my life. But I had a father-in-law that was a cabinet maker, and he had horrible problems with his lungs. And, back then you just did what you did. But dust is really dangerous if you haven't read about it. It can be carcinogenic. It builds up in your lungs, and the scar tissue and stuff that grows on top of it is almost like asbestos. So I highly recommend doing something, wear a respirator if you can't get proper dust collection, just for your health and safety. for me, it's just really comfort. I cough my brains out. So the first thing when I was researching was just sizing. What kind of, how big do I need to make the pipes in my system? How big of a dust collector I need? And that's going to largely be related to the machinery that you have. And I don't know if we've got it up behind me, but typically your pipe needs to be as big as whatever pipe it's going to on your machine. And I'm assuming that most people here are going to need dust collection for themselves, so they'll have one tool on at a time. If you have multiple tools on, that's a whole different equation. But typically, if you've got a 4-inch port on your table saw, your joiner, or whatever, you need a 4-inch main trunk. I like to go about an inch over because depending on how many feet of pipe you have and how much spiral hose you have and the connections that you have that are going to lose air, you need a little bit of extra to make up the difference. If you've got anything, a 6-inch joiner, a 15-inch planer, you're definitely in the category of a 6-inch main pipe. Those generate enough chips that you're going to need at least a 6, maybe a 7. And one of the things I really found out in researching dust collection was, I watched all these videos and people are like, they build a system and they build it all out of 4-inch. And then they complained that it plugs up. And I was like, well, why didn't they go higher? Well, what it really came down to was those $68 6x6x4 Ys that you get at Home Depot. And I was just like, well, we got to find a solution to that. So proper sizing is really big. Now, the one port on at a time kind of rule breaks down if you've got, the two common things are, you got a CNC machine you want to turn on, and then you're going to work on another tool. Well, then you've got two tools. So if you've got two 4-inches going at the same time, then you need at least a 7, maybe an 8-inch port. The other thing besides CNC that I've found is if you're lucky enough to have a fancy saw stop with one of those overarm dust collectors, you've got 2 ports there. So you're going to have to size your system a little bit bigger. So that's just a little bit on sizing your system. The next big, and this was the real puzzle that I thought was, man, this is a Rubik's Cube. I don't know if I can figure this out when I was just going to have a PVC system. There's no size of PVC pipe that has every size you need. I started off with 6-inch blue pipe, sewer and drain pipe. It's lighter, a little bit cheaper than traditional solid core Schedule 40, which is in your house for your for all your water, and that only comes in 6 and 4. It only comes in 6 and 4 because that's all plumbers use. You could go order it; it's going to cost you a lot of money. So then you're like, okay, well, what do I do when I need to do a 2.5 down to, say, my miter saw? Well, there's no 2.5 here. So then you're down into Schedule 40 land, and now you've got to come up with an adapter. And I was at a gentleman's house at Cedar Creek. He was a surgeon, had a beautiful shop, and I was telling him about my system. He was a friend of a friend. And he had to go around and show me every little goober in his system. And he had all these places where he'd taken a pipe and wrapped electrical tape around the end to make it bigger so it'd fit into the other type of pipe. And, that's fine. Look, his shop was beautiful. But, that's all potential, tape shrinks, tightens up, temperature changes, and now you've got a leak. So working through this kind of matrix of types of pipe, I'm assuming that's up there. If not, I've got this matrix here, and I'll show it to you otherwise. But the thing that I came upon was snap lock pipe. And when I first started selling this, I didn't even support snap lock pipe. And I had a customer say, oh, yeah, support snap lock pipe. And I'm like, well, it's going to come apart. It's rattly. Well, with these flanges on it, and we'll talk about it a little bit later when I talk more about my stuff, but this stuff is the cheapest in all sizes, and it will go down to 3.5. So in my shop, I mainly have spiral, but I have put sections of this in at 6 and at 4 and 3, just to verify that, your dust collector's not going to crush it. That was the other thing that I worried about. But this stuff really can be your friend if you join it up in some correct way. So if the other thing that I kind of learned was there's 2 types of Schedule 40 pipe. There's DWR, which is kind of a soft foam core, and that stuff's way cheaper, and there's no way you need solid core unless that's the only place you can get your size of that. And if you need 2.5, that's where you're going to get. The only place I ever use or recommend that is for 2.5. But this is what they call foam core, and it's much lighter and much cheaper, but it's still in every size more expensive than this. And then spiral pipe. Don't buy this stuff online. It's at least twice, maybe 3 times as expensive as you can get it at Menards. They don't have it on stock, but it's on their website. They'll order it for you. It'll be there in 4 or 5 days. And it's quite a bit, a 5-foot section of spiral pipe is, well, let me look. I guess I got it written down. 4 inch is like $3.70 a foot, so it's $19. 6 inch is where it gets a little bit more expensive. It's $28 for a 5-foot section of pipe. So I mentioned I created this company, DustDog, and one of the things I really wanted to have was be able to reorganize my shop. I did not want to untape stuff, unscrew stuff, and move a tool. I did my shop in my basement 4 months ago. I've reconfigured slightly twice already. So I wanted to have a flange on it. Problem with this pipe is it's male-female joints, and without my flanges, if you've got a run of 6 pieces of this and you need to get a piece out over here, you got to take all these down so you can pull that one out and doesn't bump up against that. The other thing is flow. I bought a meter so I could measure flow. These are both 4x3, what some people call a TY. It's comes out as a 90, but it's got some kind of bend to it. And I think it's pretty easy to see this one's going to have a lot more flow. It's a lot more gradual to turn the air down to this 3-inch section. So that was one thing I wanted. Like I said, I wanted it to have flanges so it would be easy to build. Once you put flanges on your pipe, it is as simple as wrapping one of those clamps around there and screwing it tight with a little 2mm up. And that's another thing. It seals tight. It does not leak. You don't have any tape, silicone screws, or anything like that. And the other thing over PVC fittings, I have 21 sizes of TYs. You might be able to find 3 sizes in whatever variation of pipe that you use. So I support every combination between 2, 2, 2, to across 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, and 6 inch pipe up to 6 by 6 by 6. And I do that in every fitting. So if I've got, I don't have one with me, but I've got a splitter. I have 20 of those. I have 21 different sizes of flex hose adapters. They also are reducers. So the reason I can do that is just because of 3D printing. I don't have to have injection molds made for all these sizes. Rockler, Woodcraft, those guys, they can't do that. Neither can the plumbing fitting guys. But I can support every one, and if I don't have to make it, so what? It's just a file on my computer. A injection mold for something like this is over $100,000 to manufacture. And with just this fitting here having 21, that'd be $2.1 million. My investment in the files that I've designed, you know, I don't know, a few $100. So I can support a lot more sizes and size combinations. And the big advantage of that is you're just not on the hunt for adapters. Okay, I got to go from a 3-inch schedule 40 down to a 2.5-inch size pipe. The other advantage is you can mix and match these pipe types. The outside diameter for the flange is the same diameter, so I could just undo that, put that in there, and now I've got that, or sewer and drain pipe, whatever we need. Probably the biggest advantage is just pricing of fittings. So, as I said, a 6-inch 6 by 6 by 4 Y in PVC is $68 right now at Home Depot. I looked last night to verify. Then I need a $13.45 to go the other 45 degrees. So you're upwards of $100 to get the size of fitting that you want. And my fitting, the fitting is $35, and then it's $5 for 2 clamps, 1 on each side, and then $1 for each seal that you need. So that's about, to do 6 drops, you know, that would save you $187. Now when it comes to 4-inch, they ship so much 4-inch, that's the cheapest stuff they have. So I'm pretty price comparable with 4-inch. If you did the same thing with 4-inch, I think you'd be out like $70, but you'd have all the advantages of flanges, rubber seals, and being able to reconfigure your system and increased flow. So those are really the advantages of this system. And probably the biggest advantage for you guys are, I'm going to give the whole guild a 50% off. So if anybody really wants to get dust collection in their shop, I won't buy your pipe for you. but every fitting you need, just give me a call. My contact information is, I went to Woodworking in America last week and I gave away every card I had, and my new ones haven't come in. But just go to dustdog.org, my phone number's up there, my email's up there, and let me know. And I offer all customers a consultation. So if you're trying to figure out what you need, how to size your system, which took me a while to figure out how to do reliably, I'll be more than happy to help you out with that and get you set up with dust collection. Questions?
Yeah, what kind of,
Reminder.
on my shop at home, I just use a shop vac with a flex duct. What kind of vacuum do you use for your, do you recommend, or what kind do you use?
In my opinion, like I've gone through everything. Like you go look at Oneida and oh my gosh, I want one of those big yellow Oneida with this turbo tornadoes on top. But I'd be hard pressed to say that anybody, unless you've really got a bunch of big equipment, needs more than a horse and a half, 1,200, 1,300 cubic feet per minute rating. And everybody I've set up, friends and family, I go to Marketplace, and if you wait long enough, you're going to find something in that size that comes across in a decent brand like Delta or whoever, and be able to buy that for $150, $200. I've got a 1.5 Grizzly, and I wanted a HEPA filter since I was inside, and so that was really kind of a splurge for me. But if you're out in your garage, I think start out with just the big old cloth felt bags. We'll take care of you.
So you said that you go up to 6 inches.
I do. I am going to 7 and 8. I'll start testing those in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Did you have that? You have a big.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if you would, custom make pieces for someone who happens to have 8 inches instead of.
I do, and I actually have. Oh, I didn't bring it in. It's in the truck. I have an 8-inch machine adapter. So here's my 5-inch machine adapter. This is my cover off my Delta 15-inch planer. But I make an 8-inch one of these, an 8-inch clamp, an 8 to 6 reducer. I have those, but if you want to go out and connect multiple 8s, I should in a couple of weeks. I had a couple of people at Woodworking America that were like, "Oh, do you support 8?" And I was like, "Do now." And again, though, that's easy. I've done a few custom things for people. I just need this little piece. I've got this oddball tool my grandpa gave me, and I need a 4 1/4 machine adapter. Well, all these are. I don't draw new machine adapters every time. I have one designed for a machine adapter, and then I've got a spreadsheet, a table of values, and then all I do is put a new entry in the table, and about the only work is to print it and make sure that there wasn't something that was screwed up, and it will reliably work and function for you. So yeah, and I'll do other custom stuff to make your stuff work.
Fair enough. You'll hear from me.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Anything else I can tell you? I try to keep it short so we can get out of here, but I'm a guild member. I live in Lawrence, so if you have questions, feel free to give me a call, and I'll help you out in any way I can.
What materials are you printing in?
So I print in 2 different materials. I print in PETG primarily, which is, anybody drink? That's PETG. It's very sturdy. The big downside to me is it's shiny and it kind of looks goofy. I don't like it, but it's really solid and strong. I print with a lot of infill, so there's not a lot of dead air in these fittings. I've had one person that was really worried about static electricity. And PVC, if you put a bunch of PVC pipes together, this is basically it's really a capacitor, but it's kind of a battery. It'll store up static. you'll touch it, it'll give you a jolt. Now, if you watch Stumpy Nub's videos, he'll tell you, don't worry about it. He actually found the same paper I did from an MIT professor that said he looked, and in recorded history in the United States, there's never been a dust fire or explosion in the home shop. Now, you will every once in a while read about a dust fire, but usually it's because your dust collector, the bearings are gone out in it, and you've got some dust in some spiral hose, and a spark will go down there. But static isn't really anything to worry about, but some people are sensitive to it, and I understand that. And so I will print all the fittings with a filament that has carbon nanotubes in it, and all that does is make it conduct electricity. So then your system's not gonna have any problem with static. And the only reason I don't do it for everything is it's more expensive. It raised the price of all my fittings about $30, or I'm sorry, 30%. So if you are worried about it, I would print those for you that way.
Brian, how long did you say you've had your company?
I started designing I've got a full-time job. I've been a programmer for 42 years. I started designing fittings in February. I got my first 3D printer, and I really realized that I'm older, and back in the day, we used to stay up really late and work on software. I found myself up for the first time at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning designing dust fittings. But luckily I'm past that and catching up on my sleep. But yeah, about 6 months.
How would you say business is so far?
Really just started selling about a month and a half ago. And I've sold a couple systems, which is fine. I just don't have a lot of, influencers are the big thing to get talking about you. I do have a guy down in Arkansas that if you watch 731 Woodworking, he talks about tools all the time. One of his proteges has a small channel, and I'm shipping his stuff out tomorrow, and he's gonna do a video on his YouTube channel. And I got about 20 good leads up at Woodworking in America. I was really shocked. People really got it. And, I don't like spending money on dust collection. I want tools. And so being a little cheaper or less expensive and more flexible, I think people really got it. So hoping that picks up quite a bit. All right. Well, like I said, if you need anything, just give me a buzz on my website. Thank you much.
Any last questions for Brian?
Can you tell me about your dust collection blast gate? Is it self-clearing?
Oh, yeah. This one is really easy to clean since you can undo it, and the back is open, the back's not open, but you can get to the back edge and blow it out with a hose, but you do have to take this part apart. I've got a new one where this is open, so it'll be self-clearing. And the thing I'm kind of most excited about is probably be up till April, and I'll have a automatic blast gate. So you turn your tool on, it'll open, turn your tool off, it'll close. And if you've ever seen any of those, IVAC makes one, and they're about 130 bucks a piece. Plus they sell you a $64 sensor for your tool, and it just wraps around your power cord and senses that you turned your tool on. Mine doesn't have that. When you install the little box on the dust collector, you click on the screen what types of tools you have, and then it says, okay, prepare to configure, and it says out loud, turn on your bandsaw, turn off your bandsaw, turn on your bandsaw, turn off your bandsaw. Every blast gate's got a mic in it, and so it listens, and it uses an AI model to go, oh, well, that's the guy's bandsaw. Then it tells you to turn on your joiner, and it tells you to turn on your planer. And so whenever you turn something on, it just takes care of it for you. Yeah, it learns what your tools sound like. And I got the technology from a guy that built this for big production machine rooms, and it listens for bearings to go out. And I was like, hey, do you think it would do this? And he goes, oh yeah, it wouldn't take you very long. It took me about 2 days, and I had it recognizing the tools in my shop. Now, if you don't want to trust the overlord in the box to do that, I do sell a little sensor, but I'm targeting about $75 a port for automatic. And if you would buy in between now and then, I'll reduce the price for your that you paid for your manual ones. So thanks for the question. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. I really appreciate joining this group. It's, I mean, this is a pretty special place and so much fun to come to on Wednesdays. I need to get over more often from Lawrence. So,
Brian, we just want to say thank you for the Guild. On behalf of the Guild, you get the huge prize of the Guild coffee mug. You only can get this by presenting, so we appreciate you coming out, and this was fantastic. I need dust collection bad in my own
we
shop,
got to get you hooked up.
We'll talk.
You're too young to get sick.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a great night. Feel free, or actually we would encourage you to help put up the chairs, set the shop back up. Otherwise, drive safely. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
This has been a production of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. A special thank you to our guest today, to the Guild's Leadership Committee, and to all of our sponsors. If you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. For more videos, please check out our YouTube channel. For more information about the Guild, upcoming classes, and events, please visit our website kcwg.org. You can also find us on social media by searching for Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. And remember to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications.